Okay friends, it's time for a little recap video of the RUIZU player. Now I did do an unboxing for this MP3 high definition MP3 player back in the queue, so if you haven't seen that, I do recommend checking that out. I will have a link for this product right below. But I've been using this for a couple weeks now, really heavily for the last week for sure, exclusively listening to this player, and I do have some comments to make. Okay, first off, I love the fact it comes with a case, a magnetic case, okay, which is really nice, but my gripe about this, okay, and you might say, what about the sound, what about the sound? The biggest problem I had using this case and this player, I want to use the case, but it's really hard to get the volume while in this case. Of course, you can put your finger in there and you can turn it. It's a little bit hard, and I even found like the distance between this leather strap here and this power button here being a little bit close. Sometimes I'll be hitting one and not the other, especially if you're doing something where you're trying to hit buttons without looking or it's in the dark, that kind of thing. It's a little difficult maneuvering these controls. Now, with that said, the controls on the side here are really nice. In fact, I can see why Sony on their newest MP3 players are putting a lot of controls on the side. In fact, I've been looking at that new Sony player, and I'll probably be picking one up as soon as it's available, but it's sold out everywhere. And there's a lot to talk about with that for a future video. But for this video, I do love this player a lot, okay? I'm going to take out the case so you can see a little better. Beautiful. Definitely a fingerprint magnet, as you can see. Very good player. Love the paint job. Love the way it looks. It's held up well. The paint hasn't started flaking, and no controls buttons have fallen off from heavy use or anything. It's really good, okay? And I have put this through my little sound test, okay? And again, the way I like to do, EQ tests, that kind of thing, is I have a few favorite songs, okay? And they're kind of guilty pleasures, okay? Maybe I'll save the exact names for a future video, but sound engineers, oftentimes they'll play certain songs because they're songs they know really well, and they have certain dynamic tones in them they want to hear, and they know that if they get this song right, then other things are going to fall into place, okay? And that's kind of how I look at EQs and look at MP3 players, is the fact that I have certain songs which I know how they are supposed to sound, and I want to see if they sound better than I expected, you know, worse than I expected. My bird's flying around here, and I want to check it out and see how they stack up, you know, and I have to say this player is stacked up very nicely. Okay, so I dim the lights just a little bit here so you can kind of see the beautiful screen, and this is held up really well. No weird electronic glitches, no screen freezes, no bad pixels. Everything is looking great about this. It's very easy to read, I found. Like, I ride a scooter around the island here in Key West, and it's very easy to read and maneuver this menu, you know, while in motion, which I do like a lot, okay? The screen is definitely more responsive than the, like, Surfan's F35, which you can look back in my queue and see the video on that one, which there are some pros for that unit too, but in general, it just really felt good, and it was very easy to navigate. Now, as far as finding my favorite songs, I didn't really do playlists so much. What I found myself keep going back to is I kept looking at the favorites list, okay? So it's very easy that if you play like pretty much any song, we'll just pick a random song here, let's say Nirvana Dumb, okay? If you want, you can actually, you know, very easily just hit the heart here, okay? And put that into your favorites list. There you go. See the little heart right there, the red heart? Or you could take it off your favorites list. And I found that being a really easy way of creating kind of like a favorite tunes, you know, playlist. I did find myself actually turning down this player a little bit. You know, it does actually go up very loud. It goes over 100. It looks like, I think it goes to 120 or no, more than that actually. The volume theoretically goes to number, well, 130 it looks like. And I found myself actually turning it down a little bit to try and reduce that distortion. It did have a good power output, so it can support headphones that need a little bit extra power, you know. It does have the one 3.5 hole right there, okay, one headphone jack, one hole. It didn't have a balanced output, so there's only one option for that, but I didn't really find myself missing that particularly, you know. As far as the sound goes, as far as listening types of music, you know, I really did like a lot. I wish there was a way, and there might be something on here which I just haven't found yet, where it would actually rank your music of like what you've listened to the most. And I find that kind of interesting, you know. As far as the sound goes itself, the sound of it is really nice, okay? I did find that it sounds a little bit better using large headphones. Like some MP3 players will be fine listening to with, like, you know, expensive earbuds, like in-ear monitors, you know, or actually listening to with large, you know, big headphones. I found that in general, I think this one I preferred as far as quality goes, listening to it, you know, with headphones, with wired headphones, as opposed to listening to this on the scooter, you know, with like Bluetooth, in your, cell phone ready earbuds or whatever you want to call them. I did actually go through, and I was spending some time this week actually re-downloading my music collection and adding some more FLAC files in here too, for my high res, my high definition music collection. And I do keep them separate. Okay, I would recommend, if you're getting an HD music player, to actually make sure you have a collection of HD music MP3s to really get the most out of your player. I did have one little music discovery. You guys who know me know I like the band Muse, and the song Starlight in particular is kind of a favorite of mine, I guess, a kind of a guilty pleasure, if you will. It's kind of a slower song. But there's a one point in that song where there's something I heard in HD which I have not heard. And that's happening, to other bands like Nirvana and things too, like where it surprises me. I have to stop the song and take it back and like listen to this part again, and I may do a follow-up video on that of some of the like top 5 music discoveries in HD music later. But definitely Starlight surprised me at one point in the song with something I was not expecting, and you really notice it on an HD music player. And this player, supported it great. It sounded very high definition and just really, really good. And that was with more expensive headphones. It was with like $300 Alienware headphones, which I use for gaming and for music too, actually. And so that's something, and I'll have a link for those headphones if you want down below. You can check them out. I am always open to suggestion. If you guys have certain headphones, you're like, hey TUXX, you should use these headphones or these headphones, let me know in the comments below, like what earbuds or headphones you like to use. And I should stress I'm definitely more in the camp of using, actual wired headphones for HD music. The controls on this unit, again, I did find them very functional and very good. The screen is definitely snappy. It's easy to actually go back and check out things once you have your settings the way you like them. I didn't really listen to other modes. Like, people have asked me, hey TUXX, like, have you tried doing like e-readers, books, that kind of thing? But this does have a lot of options. Like, it does have a thing for ebooks, so you can go through and you can kind of see what this is, like a generic, I don't even know what this is. It's saved. This came with the player, actually, some kind of weird text file just to take a look at it. I guess to see, it's kind of an example of like actually having text to read through. But it will support e-readers. If I'm going to read an e-read book, I don't think I'm going to read it on a screen that is this small, okay? Okay, so please don't laugh, but here's a few songs which are on my favorites list. These are some songs which I kind of tune my equipment to, and just things I've listened to over the last week or so. A few things that stood out for me: Cracker Island, newer song by Gorillaz, sounds great. It's very crisp and snappy. The vocals sound great. The whole thing has a good big sound, and it really almost sounds like surround sound. It's like all over the board. It's all over you. And not too tinny or anything, but very sharp, which was good. And then with the bass lines and everything in it, I found it just really enjoyable. I think overall one of the best sounding songs on here, Ride or Die, was really, really good. So I definitely enjoyed that one, if you're familiar with that collaboration with Foster the People. Other ones, David Bowie, Modern Love, and really sounded good, especially that beginning where it's like choo, 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 like very crisp sounding, very good sounding. It really felt HD, even though it was recorded like a long time ago. So it must have been like a really good master recording, like back in the day when they made that song, And of course, Starlight had a really interesting part. It was one of probably the best finds of like HD music where I'm like, whoa, I have to listen to this again. So I would take it back and listen to this one part, and I may reveal what that part is later, but there's something in Starlight, okay, and I don't remember the exact number. It might be 155, where it does something which in HD, which I did not really ever hear before, and it really made me surprised, and I had to play it back a couple times. I had to stop the song, stop the presses, and actually check it out. And it's amazing how HD music, every now and then, you'll just discover something in a song that you've heard 1,000 times before, and you'll discover something new in HD. And that's what makes HD so really cool, guys. It really is amazing, And Smashing Pumpkins sounds great. All in all, just really, really good. I would say that the hardest problem about this player is that in certain songs, when cranked up really loud, like pretty much the max, like 115 or higher, it did get a little bit muddy sounding, so, and there's a combinations and things with that. Of course, we're talking about the player itself, but you need the best quality MP3, and of course the headphones you're using at the time all play into the combination of, are you bottlenecking the player or not. Okay, so to recap, do I recommend this player? Yes, I definitely do. The RUIZU player is a great little player with a few drawbacks, being the volume control can be kind of hard to use, especially if it's actually in the supplied case, which I do love the case, but again, it makes using the volume a little bit trickier, you know, to get your finger in there. I wish that this dial here was just like a millimeter or two longer. Okay, so it just reached the edge, but you can see you really have to kind of stick your finger in there to make that thing turn, you know, and that can be a little tricky at times. It just feels like you're having to work a little bit harder to get your music up. I wish it was a little bit bigger of a wheel and maybe a little more tension to make it harder to turn, and that might be a good balance for them, you know. But again, for being kind of a budget player, this thing packs some goods, man. This thing can actually play great sounding music, and you'll find yourself enjoying some great HD music with this player. Again, the cons, another con besides the volume control is the fact that it does connect to your Wi-Fi unnecessarily and unrequestedly. So I'd almost recommend like doing it and like undoing the password or something, because it was pretty much constantly connecting to my Wi-Fi, despite not really doing anything over the Wi-Fi, you know. And of course, it was Rock Chip, I believe was the name of it. And they were seeing that on my, you know, Comcast alert list, like some suspicious activity, you know, was a little weird. I thought that was a little strange, you know, but again, no conspiracies here. I love this player. I mean, I keep using it, and it can keep connecting to Rock Chip if it wants to, and I'll deal with it, you know. But I guess one thing would be, since it does connect to Wi-Fi, it loves connecting to Wi-Fi so much, I almost wish that it would have Tidal involved. You know, like you could download, stream from Tidal or other sources of good quality MP3s, not even HD, but just good quality MP3s or services like Sirius, that kind of thing, okay? All right, friends. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments what type of questions you have about this particular unit, and I'll definitely do some more information on this and comparing this to some of my other MP3 units coming up. And also, don't forget that I'm looking for that Sony. So if you purchase that Sony, I'm curious what your take is on the new Sony MP3 player, the high definition music player. Okay? All right, friends. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.